Jonathan Corley, and today I'm recording this ahead of the B2B Marketing Conference in Washington, D.C. in May 2024. I wanted to give a quick preview of the presentation, Generative Marketing Strategies, B2B Personalization at Scale with GenAI. I am based in Atlanta. I lead the experience strategy practice on Sitecore's customer transformation team. And I started with Sitecore back in 2017, but I was on the partner side ahead of that, doing some system implementation work. I've been a MarTech consultant for more than a decade. I'm passionate about music and emerging technologies. And I often work with some of Sitecore's industry-leading or largest brands on road mapping workshops or getting started with things like personalization, marketing automation, A/B testing, and more recently, strategies behind large language models and generative AI. Sitecore is a leader in the digital experience space. Some of the world's most recognizable brands build their experiences or their digital experiences on Sitecore's platform. And we've got a wide range of customer-facing industries as well as B2B brands. We also have strong recognition across the board from analysts like IDC or Gartner or Forrester. Fundamentally, our heritage is in content management, and Sitecore has a set of digital experience solutions which will support marketers and developers all throughout the content lifecycle, from organizing your assets upstream through the delivery of web content, whether that's across channels, whether that's on your website or in your mobile app, whether that's email, and ultimately leveraging customer data to deliver relevant, engaging, personalized experiences. And we've made significant investments over the last couple years in AI, which is at the center of each of those solutions. So today, I want to talk in 3 sections about personalization within the B2B space. I want to first start out with just some general personalization trends. I'll share some use cases that are phased by complexity, some low-hanging fruit as brands are just crawling or getting started with personalization. I'll take a crawl, walk, run approach and share additional use cases as brands level up the digital maturity curve. I also want to touch on the sudden rise of generative AI adoption and what that means for B2B marketers, and close things out with a bit about people and process. I want to talk about organizing the team for success to scale personalization initiatives. So let's start here. When I think about personalization and an effective example of personalization that I see day to day, Spotify comes to mind. I've been at Sitecore for years, but there's no Atlanta office, so I'm not a commuter. I work from home, but each morning as I fire up my Outlook inbox and start responding to emails, I open Spotify's Daily Drive podcast, which again is designed for commuters, but I really like it because it, regardless of the device I pull it up on, whether it's my phone or my laptop, it could be on my tablet, even on my smart speaker, it's got a constantly personalized mix of content that's really relevant for me. It's some of my all-time favorite artists, some new artists that I've discovered recently, podcasts I really enjoy, even news sources from the news stories from the sources that I trust that are up to date within the last half hour of me listening to, starting the playlist. And in the B2B space, your customers are people. They are consistently exposed to just excellent Amazonian levels of hyper-personalization. Your key stakeholders making purchase decisions are they're watching things on Netflix. I know my wife and I recently didn't know what to watch, so we hit that watch next button, and Netflix suggested a show called The Good Place, which I had never heard of. We really enjoyed, but it was based on all of our interaction history with other titles and genres within the catalog. Your customers are buying things on Amazon. They are streaming music. Their expectations of interacting with brands on a digital channel are just heightened. They expect your brand, even in the B2B space, to remember and acknowledge them if they've shared information on the site, to know them, to understand their current needs, and to anticipate their future needs. And that last one, I think Amazon does a really great job of. If I buy a camping lantern and it has an odd size battery that maybe I don't have lying around, before I even realize I need to purchase that, Amazon's likely moved that accessory or that battery to a fulfillment center or one of their warehouses near me. They're anticipating my future needs. And the experience delivery gap is real. When polled or when surveyed, 80% of companies believe that they're delivering superior experiences, while only 8%, a fraction of that, those customers actually agree that that's what they're receiving on the sites. So highest level, when I talk about personalization and Sitecore, this could be for a known user. You may know John or you may know Jane because they've signed up for your email newsletter or attended an event. It could be an anonymous user. Marketing leverages data points like their browser's location or the email that led them to the site. Maybe it's the time of day or a goal that they've converted recently. And all of that information can be leveraged either in a simple rules-based setup, that's if then, or in more of a complex decisioning matrix to determine the next best action for that user based on previous interactions with your brand, so that when the user lands on the site, they have a unique experience that's relevant to them. And I think most importantly, marketers, data analysts are able to leverage analytics and see what works, what's not working, and then use that to inform the sort of experiences that they create for other users. And personalization stakes are high. This is a McKinsey report. It says that companies that excel at personalization generate 40% more revenue growth than marketing activities by industry peers. The stakes are high, but marketing budgets are at a post-pandemic low. Here's a Gartner study from this month. I think I also saw something similar on Fortune, but if you look at marketing budget as percent of total revenue, it's at 7%. Just ahead of the pandemic, we were up at 10.5 at 11%. Marketers and digital teams are being asked to do more with less, which can be challenging. So I want to talk a bit about Sitecore's digital experience maturity model, or the DXMM, and how that relates to personalization. The DXMM is it's an assessment. It's a 10-minute survey that's been around actually since 2013. At Sitecore, we updated this in 2024 to reflect new MarTech trends, but a brand can take the 10-minute assessment and they immediately get a PDF report that scores them across 6 dimensions, things like omni-channel engagement, technology, data and analytics, content agility, and it also places them within 5 levels, top left here, of digital experience maturity, ranging from those that are just emerging through developing all the way up to digital experience leadership. And here is a view of the omni-channel engagement dimension, and it's kind of a crawl, walk, run model. So in that first emerging phase, brands are just beginning to plan. They're thinking about, how can I use customer data? Which channels can I deploy scenarios across? Where should we start? As you begin to move up the maturity curve in that level 2, when you're crawling, You might begin to use in-session data and deploy some simple personalization scenarios on the website or the mobile app. And over the next few slides, I'm going to step through each of these levels and give some examples of where to get started. So first is level 2, developing. I'm shocked at how many people, as I travel, have actually visited or traveled into to Dollywood. It's a Dolly Parton themed theme park in Pigeon Forge, Tennessee. And this is a really simple scenario. Their marketers are leveraging GeoIP location. So the person that's on the site, where are they based? On the left-hand side, you see the hero for home markets. They're showing a one-day ticket for $65. On the right-hand side, you've got the hero for outer markets. So here they're showing $99 per adult. And marketing team, their theory was that if you're traveling in from out of state, it's likely that you're staying for more than just a day. And for users exposed to that personalization, if you're not in Tennessee, they saw a 24% lift in online ticket sales. Another really simple but effective technique, AJG is a B2B insurance firm, Arthur J. Gallagher. On the left, it's just the default mobile experience, kind of bottom of the page near the footer, talks about subscribing to the newsletter, but the homepage is valuable real estate. If the user has already subscribed to the newsletter, you can take that real estate back. And on the right-hand side, you see once they've converted that goal, just simple personalization that's swapping that content with effective risk management strategies. At Chick-fil-A, I realize this is selling food or sandwiches, but you can absolutely apply something as simple as like time of day or a page view to your experiences. So what you see here is day parting. They're showing a chicken biscuit at breakfast. They're showing salads at lunch. Maybe they're showing the full meal at dinner. But when working with their content authors and their marketing team, one of their top strategic objectives for this quarter was to increase the amount of catering orders. So when you look at their entire audience, a really small slice of that are office managers that have been exploring catering. So if you've recently viewed the catering menu or looked at the catering page in subsequent sessions, the homepage, they did a sort of homepage takeover where they would promote this new barbecue chicken bundle. And for users that saw that, there's a 6% lift in catering orders. Now, those were pretty simple, goal-based, time, or page view-based. We're going to see a little more complexity in the decisioning as we go up the maturity curve. So McCormick, they don't sell anything direct to consumers, but they do have a lot of buttons on their site that leads people to where they can buy their products. They're very seasonally or holiday based, and Easter is a big time where folks look for different recipes. So their marketing team went back to Google Analytics. They looked at their top 100, top 200, top viewed recipes, and they just sliced the country into a few geographic regions to determine which recipe drives the most engagement for different regions. And then when you arrive on the site that Easter, if you live in the Southeast, then you may see these Easter bunny cupcakes, it looks like. This did lead to a measurable lift in recipe views. Now, I like this example. Ascendus is a real estate investment trust in Asia. And there's a few things going on here. They've got kind of layered personalization that really leads to a unique experience that the user gets. So some of their audience segments are multinational corporations or small, medium businesses. They've got startups or investors, job seekers. But in this case, the user is based in Malaysia. So the homepage banner is featuring a Malaysia business park, so something local. They are interested in business parks, not retail shopping or residential there. And the contact type, the call to action, actually leads on the right-hand side, leads to the appropriate department. And all of this is kind of ambient or implicit personalization that's behind the scenes that just leads to a more relevant experience for the user. I thought this was a clever use of personalization. Atlantis the Palm is it's a theme park and a hotel. There's a couple of them. This is the one that's in Dubai. It's on a palm-shaped crescent island just off the coast of Dubai. But if you've stayed in a hotel for tonight's conference, or if you've stayed in a hotel recently, you're familiar with like logging into the hotel Wi-Fi, and you get redirected often to the brand's things to do or their homepage. Now, their marketers just used the referring URL, in this case it was RiverNet, to recognize traffic that was actually on property. So these aren't folks that are considering joining, booking at the suite. They're not in the awareness phase. They're actually on site, and they provided a unique set of offers to those users. You could deploy the same tactic within any of your brick and mortar businesses if you provide Wi-Fi. Last two categories, excelling and leading. This is Volvo. You can see the default content on the home page on the left. This scenario, I like it because they took kind of a follow the money approach, where they went into Google AdWords and looked for what are the biggest bets that we made last year? What are the highest AdWord ad groups that we spent that we spent paid for paid search that we budgeted for paid search, and they found that XC60, one of their models, test drive, was one of those. So for anyone that interacted with that specific AdWord and arrived on the website, there's some clever personalization here. They went ahead and put the starting price of the XC60 on the home page, on the book a test drive page, and as you click through the website, they're showing not just generic imagery of a few different vehicles, but you are greeted with the make and the model that you were searching for. Allied Irish Bank is a large retail bank in Ireland. And if you've ever left your credit card in a billfold at a restaurant, you leave it behind, it can be a stressful event. I like what they did here. If you visited that lost or stolen card page, or if you're within that workflow process, they suppressed any sort of upsell or cross-sell messaging. If there's a stressful event that one of your accounts is going through, if they're in a specific workflow state, you might be able to pause marketing automation or personalization efforts. So the final category here is leading, and it's a makeup brand. This is L'Oreal's Lancome. I think it's pronounced. Lancome is, it allows you to leverage some augmented reality to try on virtual products and save that to your profile. They do a great job of blurring the boundaries between digital and physical. If you're near a store or a mall with a sales associate for Lancome, you might get a notification on your phone that prompts you to go try it on in person, and that associate could have access to some of the products that your favorite products that you've saved. Last example is American Airlines, and I bring this up because I want you to think beyond just the website or the app. They're leveraging our CDP and our personalized product to drive decisioning and some of the personalized messaging that's on screens in airports. You can see this one shows check your carry-on for free when a certain threshold of people have checked into the flight, as well as a kids announcement there. All right, so those are a lot of great examples of some rules-based or AI-powered decisioning. But one consistent comment that I hear from brands, here's a quote from a CMO that says, I know we need to personalize, but what's stopping me isn't a desire. In fact, every study that we've read tells me that personalization is the way to go. I'm being held back by the amount of content that I need to generate. So this sort of content anxiety is blocking brands from getting started with personalization. And in many ways, I think AI is rising to help solve or contribute to the solution of that content challenge. At any conference you're at these days, you're hearing a lot about generative AI. It is moving at a breakneck pace. I am shocked at how fast this space is moving. On the left-hand side of the chart here, you can see ChatGPT from launch to 1 million users. That took 5 days. Took Netflix 3.5 years after they stopped shipping DVDs to hit 1 million users. It took Twitter 2 years. I think they've crossed 100 million users by now. I'm sure most of the folks in this room or watching this video recording are leveraging AI. When I ask at conferences, 6 months ago, I would see about half of the hands go up. I mean, the majority of folks are leveraging AI day to day just to help them with communication. There's also a large portion of domain experts, marketers, knowledge users who are personally paying for pro versions like ChatGPT 4 of generative apps. This kind of showed up overnight. My first exposure was DALL-E, and I'll walk you through some of the light bulb moments for me of generative AI and its capabilities. This is early. It's 2 or 3 years ago, early beta version of DALL-E. On the left-hand side, you've got I was working on a book project, needed some illustration, and you've got a baby watching a movie. Now, it's kind of cartoonish. It's not anatomically correct. You can see that the baby is missing all of its fingers. I'm not sure what this thing bottom left is, maybe a bottle or furniture. You even bottom right have like the color for print that's just baked into the image. Soon after that, GPT-3 became accessible to the public with OpenAI. And when asked to write a 3-line poem about writing a 3-line poem, the system said, "Oh, what a task you've set for me to write a poem in just 3 lines. I'll do my best, but please don't mind if it doesn't quite meet your design." So there's a bit of sarcasm, tongue-in-cheek creativity there, where the system returned a 4-line poem. Tom Cruise on a cruise. It looks like Tom Cruise, but there's a lot of celebrity photos available for training data. What really caught my attention was last year when GPT-4 passed the bar exam, when it started to really think critically about questions and moving from that baby without fingers. Here's Midjourney, OpenAI, Adobe, generating human-like imagery that at times is indistinguishable from stock photography. OpenAI opened up the ability for non-technical users to build their own GPT. You can try this out with a OpenAI account. I built a GPT called Ask a President. And given all the states of the union, You could ask JFK what he wants to watch on Netflix tonight. You could ask Woodrow Wilson about his grocery shopping list. It's shocking when you compare how Lincoln and Trump respond to the same question at times. In the middle is a Zuckerberg. And then things are shifting from just generative text or imagery to video and audio. We've got a corgi vlogging itself on a beach. Looks like a dog. Like, that dog doesn't exist. That bird just kind of disappears into the background. There's some odd things going on with shadows here. On the right-hand side was Discord and Suno, but it's generative audio where the entire song was generated with a text-based prompt. Now, those are all kind of fun examples that just prove the what's possible across different media formats, but this is real. Marketers are saying that AI or generative AI is a top budget priority for this year. And if anyone caught Google's keynote last week, they are rushing to incorporate AI answers into Google searches. So right-hand side, I searched last night, what is the B2B Marcom Summit? You can see that the AI system has just summarized an answer, and it's really taking over all of the screen real estate there. This is an eMarketer statistic, but Google's AI answers, the ability to index or consume and transform information that's on your website, that's going to have a major immediate impact on organic traffic. But I think marketers that are creating engaging experiences are well positioned in this space, because you have to begin to think, what can AI not summarize? Those are experiences. These are delightful, engaging, interactive experiences that are created that live on your website. It gives people a reason to go to your site rather than organically click deep into one of the blogs or landing pages. So previously, high frequency, low effort, kind of junk food content marketing. I think that the value of that content producing 20 different blogs is going to decrease. Whereas if you place a lot of your effort on that low frequency, high effort content marketing, creating memorable experiences that really defy summarization, that's where you will begin to recognize a lot of value. And I wanted to share an example of how I'm using generative AI to work with customers. This is Cytiva that I'll use as an example. It's a B2B firm. They sell they're in biotech, so like gene editing, gene analyzation equipment. I'm not a biotechnologist, so I'm not sure what all the what this machine exactly does, but their audience segments are research institutions, biotech startups, their healthcare providers, pharmaceutical companies, or government labs. So in this case, I asked the system to produce, and these are abbreviated versions of the prompts. Find me afterward if you're interested, but to produce audience segments for Cytiva's biotech products and services. I also asked for a representative customer journey, moving from awareness through consideration, purchase, and loyalty that's specific to Cytiva. And then here's where things get interesting. I created a matrix between the two. I asked for the generative system to return a table of personalization messaging. So what you see here is a starting point for marketers. Maybe these are homepage hero headlines, or maybe these are subjects you could write about. But for each segment at each stage of the journey, you may be speaking to a biotech startup about fueling their growth, much different than you would a pharmaceutical company or a research institution. Anyway, all of this was generated within the UI of ChatGPT-4, and there are many elements of generative AI through our partnership with Azure that are baked into a lot of our products, and more to come in October. But personally, I'm just kind of blown away by the fact that for $20 a month, I have access to this machine that it took hundreds of millions of dollars to train. It's a really powerful machine if you use specific and detailed prompts. So within Sitecore's product, whether you're using our content management system or our digital asset management, all the way through the content lifecycle from creation, publishing the content, personalization, deploying personalized experiences, and then even the ability to measure and optimize the effect of that content. We've put a lot of R&D effort into integrating AI at each step. And find us in the booth if you're more interested in those concepts. But given limited time, the last section I wanted to talk about is organizing a team to scale personalization efforts. As I said, I'm shocked to have access to these powerful systems. If you wanted to interact with any sort of an AI model, even 5-10 years ago, you needed a PhD in data science. If you wanted to launch an A/B test and measure the results, you would often have to hard code and build your own homegrown system to do that. Things have shifted in MarTech to more of this low-code, no-code environment, which lowered the barrier of access to domain experts like marketing technologists. And these days, with the intuitive nature of digital experience software, it's made it easy enough for business users, for marketers to really leverage these tools and change or create content on the website. Now, with that sort of power comes responsibility. I think it's very important for brands to establish governance and workflow and put the right checks and balances, the right workflows in place to ensure that the intern isn't changing the headline of your website. Now, I've worked with large oil and gas companies with marketing teams of 50 or more. I've also worked with small startups and across different industries. And here's the shape of the team that I've seen work well with delivering personalized experiences or really scaling a personalization program. You've got the executive sponsor. Gaining the support of the executive sponsor is always important to clear any sort of budget or internal political issues, also to advocate on the project's behalf. Around the circle are a few different roles, and you could have multiple people in a single role, or you could have one person that's wearing a few different caps playing multiple roles, but you've got a digital strategist, a data analyst, a project manager, a UX designer, and then the front or back-end developers. At the center is the digital experience leader who's ultimately responsible for the success of the project and for broadcasting, success and failures on the project's behalf. But this is kind of the minimum viable team that I've seen successfully scale scale up the maturity curve. And that team often borrows best practices from their counterparts in IT. So they're leveraging some agile marketing practices. And while they may not follow every Scrum ceremony religiously, they are certainly using a backlog of, they stack up some ideas as it relates to personalizing or A/B testing. They pull a few of those off the backlog and commit to delivering this within a 2 to 3 week sprint. They meet maybe daily, weekly stand-ups just to check in on progress. And then at the end of the sprint, this is a really important element. They're broadcasting results, whether that's success or failure. They're sharing results back with the wider organization. That could be on a call or in a newsletter of here's what worked, here's what didn't. And it raises awareness of the program, which you'll often be surprised at different departments, the sort of ideas you get back from departments. With McCormick, there were folks in their test lab kitchen that were sharing ideas for an A/B test. But those insights you learn go back to inform the backlog prioritization. Word of caution here, try to avoid the Texas sharpshooter fallacy. So you're not personalizing for the sake of personalization. Before you launch an experience, go ahead and identify the goal that you're trying to move the needle on. What's the target objective of that experience? Because once you get to the end of that sprint, once you start looking at all the data, it's easy to find like signals or patterns and noise, and it's easy to draw the target around a goal conversion that a random experience may have impacted. Setting a hypothesis before launching an experience really helps to hold your team accountable. And here's it's a construction equipment manufacturer. They're based in Australia. I really like what they're doing here. They physically printed the plans for an A/B test and posted it right outside the elevators as folks walk off the elevators. They're asking people throughout the office to vote, just raising awareness of the project. And we covered a lot of ground. I'll close with this last slide here. The Dunning-Kruger effect in psychology is all about how, as humans, we tend to overestimate our abilities when we're learning a new skill. And if anyone plays guitar, I think that's a good analogy, where when you first pick up a guitar, you're first learning, you take your first couple lessons, maybe you learn some power chords and you can play Smoke on the Water, or you can play a Blink-182 riff or something, and you think, wow, this is pretty easy. Give me a few months and I'll master this. But the further you get into lessons, the more you learn about scales and modalities, the more you learn about major and minor, the more you start getting into complex chord structure. You realize, wait a minute, this is a lot more difficult than I thought. And yeah, it takes thousands of hours for people to actually master a topic. Now, if you apply that same curve to generative AI, that first time you generate a quick blog or a quick email, you think, wow, this is a magic button. It's going to answer all my questions. But wait a minute, you start to understand that it's really only good at predicting the next word based on information that's available. And damn, there's not always accurate information. The system is hallucinating pretty frequently. Once you begin to understand that as a team and learn that it's a good vehicle for ideation, and it's a good vehicle for summarization or synthesis, it's great for teams as a starting point, but you really need that human checkpoint to sign off on content the AI produces. Now you're ready to get started leveraging generative AI in a variety of contexts, including personalization. So thanks for sticking around until the end of this video. If we're not already connected, find me on LinkedIn or check out my blog, my website at personalizecx.com. Thank you.